Well, howdy there, folks. James Political Friar coming to you again, weekend edition, because I am on vacation. That's why we got the Portland Timbers hat on. This is an away game. What you see behind me is the wonderful confines of the La Quinta Inn here in Denver, Colorado, where we're coming to you with a little bit of a different type of video. This is one where I just want to take a look at something that's touching on politics but hasn't become political yet and see if there's any there. And so we've heard a little bit about the respiratory infections that are ravaging mostly northern China and mostly kids, but also all around the world. Europe, Ohio, others have had these real nasty respiratory infections that seem to be targeting kids. And in response to this, as might be predictable, 5 U.S. senators have called for a travel ban from China. Fears of COVID restriking. And that makes sense. I get why Americans would be afraid of a redux of COVID. It was a national trauma. So I went and talked to a couple of friends of mine who are doctors. I have a bit of a network out there who hopefully can explain these things, because where I consider myself a bit of an expert on lots of historical stuff and law and politics, I'm no doctor. But I do know a bunch. And so I checked with some that I trust, and I wanted to bring this audience a little bit of what they had to say about this event, this medical event, that's a global medical event that's happening. And the quick answer is relax. As Aaron Rodgers of American Football once said, RELAX, relax. What is happening is predictable. The mechanism is known, and it's happening where we expect it based on the known mechanism. So here's what happens. You have a 3 year long COVID lockdown in China, which is severe. And during that 3 year long COVID lockdown, not just COVID gets blocked, but also RSV gets blocked, the flu gets blocked, colds get blocked, mycoplasma pneumonia gets blocked. And for kids who are young, who have not been exposed to these diseases daily, as most adults have been, because these diseases are churning in the population constantly. And the vast majority of the time that you get a flu virus up your nose, it doesn't give you an infection because your body knows how to fight it off. Well, those kids who are in lockdown haven't had that constant exposure. And so when they get a flu virus up their nose, well, they get sick. And they wouldn't have but for the 3 year long lockdown. And the same story happens around the world. Because we had the preventative measures for COVID, the exposure to these more mundane types of infections just wasn't there. And so the years after the lockdowns end, these infections are going to be targeting a less immune population, and you're going to have more sick people. The good news, none of these diseases is particularly deadly. You're going to have more sick people, but you're not going to have a lot more dead people. And all of these diseases are pretty treatable, especially COVID now. Frankly, COVID is as treatable as the flu. And so all of the hysteria and the political knee-jerking saying we have to do something, we don't. We need to take care of the sick kids. We need to make sure that everybody has the resources that they need to make sure that medical centers aren't overwhelmed. But assuming that we can afford those resources, and we can, there's no need to do anything as drastic as a lockdown. There's no need to do anything as drastic as even mandatory masking. There's no need to do anything as drastic as a travel ban. Relax. These are known entities. In particular, the one that it seems to be the most novel is this mycoplasma pneumonia. It's different from RSV, the flu, COVID, colds, because it's bacteriological. You ever have a cold that just won't go away and it just sticks in your lungs for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks? It's because you have bacteria that you're walking around with all the time. And when your immune system is compromised based on stress or taking steroids or having immune compromising disease, you can just get pneumonia from this bacteriological infection. And it's not so severe that you feel like you have to go to the doctor, but you do have never just clear your lungs. Thankfully, once you do go to the doctor, they take an x-ray and they say, oh, white lung disease. Yeah, but antibiotics knocks it out. It's eminently treatable, as are all of these diseases. So I get why these 5 senators are worried. I understand that they also have political reasons to jump the gun and blame the Biden administration for not doing enough. Just in case this does get bad, they're going to look real good. But if it doesn't get bad, they don't really take the hit because they're just an overabundance of caution, and that never has any political consequences, right? But for you and for me and for our well being, our peace of mind, relax. It's going to be fine. All right, well, it's just my take. Tell me what I got wrong in the comments down below. Leave me a like. Hit that subscribe button, please. I'm not sure how many of these away game videos I'm going to be doing in the next couple weeks, but we'll see how they go. And let me know what you want to hear about. I really do appreciate the opportunity to talk about what's on your mind. All right. Thanks.